Hi everyone. One of my favorite videos to make for the channel is this video, and there's something just really special about this time of year for me. I'm someone who loves autumn, and the Sabbats that accompany autumn, the energy that accompanies the energy of the element of water, and also watching as the earth turns within and allows things to die and to fall away. Following that, as part of the personal journey, is very poignant for me. So it's always a joy for me to make this video and kind of share the decks that are awakening my spiritual connection and assisting me on my personal spiritual path. And I definitely do tend to work with darker themed decks in the autumn, and I think that they lend themselves really well to shadow work and even just being in tune with the season of autumn as well. So I have a pretty big list this year. I'm kind of, I spent a lot of this year not working with a whole ton of decks and really downsizing my collection and really seriously focusing this year on the inner realm and opening up to my gifts and my journey and being authentic in every moment of every day and opening up to that. That's what I've spent this year really doing, and there's been a lot of heaviness that's come along with that. There's been a lot of beauty too, and so for a lot of this year, I haven't been working with as many decks as I typically do, and I haven't really been doing as much card work as I typically have for myself in the past. But I've had certain decks that started to come in at the end of August that have been working really powerfully with me right now, and so I'm feeling very reinvigorated in my work with tarot and oracle cards. Not just with clients, because I will always use cards with clients. I think they're beautiful tools for awakening and remembering and coming back into the self. But for myself, there's been a real reinvigoration of working with the cards for myself and what that means, and a really very clear understanding of what tarot and oracle cards' purpose is for me on my path. And it's really not about divination at all. It's very much about self-work and self-care. So yeah, so there's actually quite a few decks on this list. I haven't even counted. I just know that this is the list that I need to share and also document that I'm working with this fall. I want to start with a new deck because it's been one of the most important decks that I've been working with over the last few days. This deck arrived, I'm trying to think, one of my best friends got this deck for me, and I think it arrived Friday, so it hasn't even been a week that I've had the deck. But I can't put it down and I can't stop using it. This deck is amazing, and it's the Ceccoli Oracle by Nicoletta Ceccoli, and I will show you some of the images. I will, of course, do a review. I know that many of you have been asking and wondering if I will. This deck is off the charts, and I will tell you, I cannot stop journaling with this deck, and I cannot stop pathworking with the card images. And what they really do is they look so like, okay, at first look like you think, okay, it's a beautiful picture, but, what is it? But then, and this is why I love Ceccoli's work, you sit with the deck, you sit with the image, and you start to have a dialogue, and you start to have an understanding of how many different perspectives there are to each and every situation, and where you are in your own story, and what story are you telling yourself, and is that the story that you want to tell yourself? Is that really your truth? It's just, I cannot tell you how much I love this deck and how important it is for me right now. It's constant. I've been using it every day, and like I said, just journaling and journaling and journaling and journaling on the messages. And I will do a full review at some point in the future. I'm not sure when I'll be ready to do that, but, you know, talking about everything. But for right now, it needs to be on my list. This is a last-minute edition because, like I said, it just came Friday. Her decks just pack such a punch. So this is the, I'll show you one more image. Oh, wait, I'll show you one more. Because this card is really, really important for me. This is the Ceccoli Oracle by Nicoletta Ceccoli. It is insane. And my deck likes quartz points, so I've been using that with them. No autumn list for me would be complete without the next 4 decks. They're on every autumn list, I think. And rightly so, and always will be. The Fallen Angels Oracle is a very, very important deck for me. And it is one that, again, is passionate love affair. And, oh my gosh, it's just so... It's hard to describe this deck because it's so beautiful, it's so haunting, and it just kicks you in the ass. Like, there is just no... It does not hold back. It's always going to tell you the truth. And it's always going to serve it up kind of the way it is. It's not going to candy coat anything. It's not going to make you feel comfortable. It's not going to make you feel loved and protected and taken care of. It's just going to be like, here it is. This is where you are right now, and this is why. And if you're not happy with it, it's up to you to change it. And that is what I love about this deck. This deck loves to read for other people as well. It's super, super clear and concise in readings for others. It's one of my favorite decks, along with the Messenger Oracle by Raven Phelan, to use as clarifiers and tarot spreads, especially for other people. If you're drawn to this deck, it's like a $13 deck. You have to just purchase it and go with it and discover the power of the Fallen Angel's voice. It's just incredible. Okay, so my #1 tarot deck of all time. Tarot of Vampires. As you can see, I've recently done a little work with one of my copies. And I've edged this in red, and then I've also trimmed the borders off of this copy of Tarot of Vampires. See if Lucas stops barking. Okay, I think he's done. This deck it's my #1 tarot deck. If you said to me that I could only work with one tarot deck for the rest of my life, this deck would be the deck that I would work with. It's my home deck. It's a deck that I just, as soon as I pulled it out of the box, I had this connection with it and this deep, abiding love and affection for, and it reads so beautifully for me. And it's one of those decks, like, you either love it or you don't connect with it at all. But it is my home deck, it's my power deck, it's the deck that I always come back to. And this time of year is my favorite time of year to work with it as well. I work with it all year, nearly on a daily basis. But that's my favorite image of the Queen of Scepters or the Queen of Wands ever. There are just no words to tell you how much I love this deck. And this autumn, as always, it is a joy to be able to connect with it and work with it. And I'm very excited about Ian Daniels' new Fairy Enchantment deck. And so we're kind of getting ready for that deck to come in and see if Tarot of Vampires and the Fairy Enchantments deck will work together, or what that relationship will be like as well. But this deck is my baby, my love, my one true love. Look at that image. Look at that image. So this, as every autumn, is probably my most used tarot deck. This deck, I was a little disappointed in at first, and I think many of you know that. Lay Vampires Oracle by Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith. I'm pretty sure I've also trimmed this one. So it's going to look a little different than when it comes out of the box. I was a little disappointed in this deck at first, but I have found a new appreciation for it over the last few weeks. And I think I had even said this in a previous video, kind of having a new understanding of the voice of this deck and the type of shadow work that it wants to do, and I'm really enjoying reconnecting with it. I almost gifted it, and I'm really glad that I didn't, because I think it is an important one for my journey, and especially for this time of year. So I am really thankful to have it in my collection. Again, this is the Lay Vampire Oracle. And just really, really enjoying it. I'll show you that one. So this one is in heavy rotation on the altar and in my use with it as well. That deck will occasionally read with other people, but primarily it just hangs out with me. Okay. I freaking love this deck more every year as well. This is the Halloween Oracle by Stacey DeMarco with artwork by Jimmy Manton. And I always get excited because I pull this deck out in August every year, and I'm like, okay, it's almost autumn, we're almost there, just going to get through a few more weeks, because summer is not my favorite time of year. And this is like we're almost there, we can do it, we're almost at the most wonderful time of the year. So I always get excited when I pull this out, with this deck out, and I get like a little gleeful, and I just feel really witchy and decadent, and it's just delicious working with this deck. It's so fun. It's powerful, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's absolutely dead serious with you, and it gives very, very insightful messages as well. And a lot of people have trimmed theirs, which I've been kind of watching, because I'm kind of like a little bit into the trimming, but not every deck. Like, I will never trim my Mary L. Tarot. I don't think I will ever trim that. But this deck I have seen trimmed, and I'm a little intrigued. I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but I'm not 100% sure if I will end up trimming it. But this deck is gorgeous. It's awesome. It's fun. It just gets you in the mood and in the spirit. Okay, next deck is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot by Raven Phelan. Fast becoming one of my absolute favorite tarot decks. As I said, it's right up there with Tarot of Vampires, Ceccoli Tarot, Mary L for me. Dreams of Gaia Tarot is just unique. It is beautiful, it's powerful, it's impactful. It was created with deep intention. And I have to say, like, I've been kind of seeing some of the conversations that have been going on. Some people seem to be just writing this deck off and acting like, oh, it's just an oracle deck with, like, some major arcana cards thrown in, or it's an oracle deck with some minor arcana cards thrown in. It's not. It's its own tarot system, and it was created with deep intention by the creatrix of the deck. And it's a beautiful deck for any type of soul work, or self-work, or journey work that you're trying to do for yourself. So don't write this deck off because you think it's a knockoff to something else, or somebody did whatever. This is a really, really powerful, beautiful deck that wants to take you there. It's there to assist you to go as deep as you can possibly go in any given moment. It's meant for journaling. It's meant for meditation. It's meant for the deep stuff. This is not just a tarot deck for divination or anything. I don't know. It's just not phoned in. It's really, really powerful. And I get like very defensive for it when I hear people saying it's just an oracle deck with some major cards thrown in or some minor cards thrown in. It's not. It's its own powerful system, and there were changes and shifts made to the structure, and they all serve a purpose. Every choice that Raven made, she made it with intention and with and again, intention and powerful reasoning. It's the changes haven't been made willy-nilly. It's not like angelic new age kind of thing. Like, it's a very serious, beautiful, powerful, wonderful deck. So it's, again, it's this and the Ceccoli Oracle are my newest additions to my collection. Both of them I have been working with constantly. Both of them, tons of journaling, lots of shadow work, lots of journeying with the card images. Just really, really, really beautiful, powerful decks. And so Dreams of Gaia Tarot I will be using for the rest of my life. And I am so thankful and so excited to be able to use it this autumn, to call in Mabon and Soin and just bring that energy in with this deck. It just means the world to me. I just feel so grateful that this deck was created and that I get to work with it. Look at that. Oh, love this deck so much. The next deck is one that I almost gifted this past year, where there were some really heavy times for me, and I'm so thankful that I did not gift this away in one of those moments of haze, because, oh my God, I love the Lulileska Tarot, and I'm rediscovering my love. It's just, it's like the freaking best. It's New Orleans voodoo. It's backwoods magic. It's everything dark and dirty and steamy and just beautiful that you can think of when you think of autumn and you think of the South. And very much this deck is that Southern Gothic feel, and I love it. It's so great for storytelling. This deck does read with others, only select clients though. Like this deck, you have to be kind of special if the Lulileska is going to come out for you. But it's just so much fun. It's just so much fun to work with, and I love it. I am so happy that I kept this deck in my collection. Stop there. Yeah, I really, really love this deck. So as with every autumn, and this is the time of year that I love to work with this deck, and it's like I'm rereading Anne Rice's The Witching Hour series right now, the Mayfair Witches series, the first book, The Witching Hour. I'm just in that, like, steamy, just ghostly, witchy mood, and Lulileska just goes right along with that energy. So if you're in that kind of mood, that's you want to purchase that deck and work with that deck. It's absolutely going to deliver on that. Isis Oracle. Every single video has tarot vampires in the Isis Oracle, as you all know. I'm really reconnecting with this deck in the sense of allowing it to mother me right now, and to be my mother, and to be supportive of each and every step and each and every moment of my journey, and to nurture me. And so typically this is a deck that's very empowering for me, but right now it's actually very loving and very mothering and caring and supportive and nurturing of where I am, and just a hand held out, a hug when I need it. And that's a new way for me to explore this deck, so I've been very, very thankful. This is the beauty of working with cards over the years, is the personality of each deck, the energy of the decks that you're working with. They really, really get super multifaceted and beautiful and loving and powerful, and the voice might have a different message, and yet it's this familiar beloved at the same time. And so you can sometimes hear a message that maybe you couldn't hear from a stranger or a new deck in a really powerful way with the deck you've been working with for years. So if you're new to tarot, know that there are, at each stage in the journey, a new chapter, a new voice coming through that never, the beauty of that never lessens. So this is the Isis Oracle by Alana Fairchild. I just put that in wrong. That's going to upset me. And this is like, I have copies and copies of this deck because I leave it out on my kitchen altar and the sun tends to fade it. So I will be purchasing that deck for the rest of my life. Okay, my next deck is the Divine Circus Oracle, also by Alana Fairchild. I did a reveal of this with you guys a few weeks ago, and I was really, really concerned that I wasn't going to be able to work with this deck because of the artwork. There's this artist here, Maxine Gadd, her artwork just doesn't really speak to me when it comes to oracle decks. And so I was really, really concerned that I had purchased this deck and would end up gifting it away and not really getting to work with it. But I have to say, I've been doing a daily draw with it every day for the last few weeks. It's got a good, clear voice. And even the artwork that I don't like, I'm still able to hear the message, which doesn't always happen for me. So this deck I will be keeping and I will be using, and I will continue to use it often. You know, I'm not in love with all the artwork still, but I'm very, very drawn to the messages that come forward, which are very, very, they're very much a call to being yourself and to not letting anyone tell you otherwise. So it's a really good deck for like when you need to feel like, okay, I can do this, I got this, I believe in myself, I believe in this path that I'm on. Whatever that looks like for you, this deck is going to support that for you. It's going to encourage you to continue to follow your path, to continue to be brave and courageous, to continue to be unapologetically authentic, to continue to explore the parts of yourself that are shadow, are dark, that you're afraid of, or that you don't understand, to wake up to your own power and strength, to realize that you can shift anything that you want to shift, that you're not ever stuck. I love that image. So this deck I absolutely will be keeping, and I will be working with, and I am working with this deck this autumn very intentionally and with a lot of focus. Oh my gosh, this list is so long, guys, but I'm like, how can I leave these out? I just grabbed 4 more to share with you, and then I was like, oh, but I want to add these other 3. I'm like, this is so many decks. But I am just, again, feeling very reinvigorated in my card work. The Ceccoli Tarot. Can't have the Ceccoli Oracle and not also be rekindling a love affair with the Ceccoli Tarot. This is the last time you're going to see it like this, because I am going to be modifying it and trimming it. I don't know if you guys have watched Veronica Jude's video on the artwork and the original titles to the artwork for Nicoletta's decks, and she shares a lot of like really great information in there. So I'm going to put the link underneath in the description bar. But if you are someone who has the Ceccoli Tarot and you're not necessarily getting it and wanting to feel the connection, or you'd like to deepen your connection with your Ceccoli Tarot, I think that's a video really worth watching, because she has a lot of insight into Nicoletta Ceccoli's artwork, and she talks a lot about, you know, what lessons and healing there are for our inner child, especially if we've had very difficult or painful childhoods, that you can have through the artwork that Nicoletta Ceccoli's created. So I think if you are exploring the Ceccoli Tarot or the Ceccoli Oracle, you'll enjoy watching that video. So I'm going to put the link to that below in case you guys want to check it out. But I watched it the other day. I was home and just had some cooking and baking and that kind of stuff to do with Vincent, and we just kind of watched it together while we were doing our thing, and it was a really, really beautiful video that I got a lot out of as someone who's followed Ceccoli's work for years. So if you have no real background in her work, this is really going to help you understand the power of her work. But this deck just, again, it's a lifer for me. I'll be using this deck forever with love and with thanks and gratitude to Nicoletta for creating it. I'll do one more for you guys from this because this is getting super long. I can't believe some of you are still watching. The Fairies Oracle and the Heart of Fairy Oracle. I kind of consider these bookends to each other because they are just really powerful messages from the Fae, from the She, from the Unseelie Court, from the Seelie Court, and they are different facets, and yet at the same time they're like mirrors for each other to me. So I'm going to show you them together and count them as one, even though they're not as one. And I would never combine these decks, so just pretend I didn't say that. I don't want them to hear me upset saying that. They'll be tricksy on me. This is the Fairies Oracle. If you want to experience the Fae the way I do, these two decks are the way to do it. It's the clearest, most connected way to the way that I experience the realms of the Fae and the energy of the Fae. Beings that are neither good nor evil, because there really isn't good or evil, and have very powerful messages and quite unique ways of delivering them. So this deck is just amazing. And if you feel drawn to exploring the Fae, you want to work with especially the Fairies Oracle, and then following that, the Heart of Fairies Oracle, I would say. So this is the Heart of Fairies Oracle, also by Brian Froud. Jessica Macbeth did the guidebook for the Fairies Oracle, which is off the charts amazing. Brian Froud's wife, Wendy, I think, wrote the guidebook for the Heart of Fairies Oracle, which is also a great guidebook, but the Fairies Oracle guidebook is just, like, incredible. I think I'll stop there. The Temptation. So that is an awesome one. Makes most of my lists every year. The Gothic Oracle by Victoria Francis. This is also a perfect deck for this time of year. It really just gets you in the mood. Really beautiful. Has a very unique voice. It's kind of dreamy and very feminine, actually. So I work with this deck. Again, it's very similar to how I'm exploring the Isis Oracle right now. Actually, when I need nurturing and love and to feel cared for, I think this deck has a very caring voice, even though it's a Gothic Oracle and you wouldn't necessarily think of that word with it. It's actually very caring and very understanding. And again, it's very much like a hand held out in the dark, encouraging you to understand your truth and to know it and to walk it and to allow it to be what it will be as well. Love this image. So this is the Gothic Oracle by Victoria Francis. The next deck, the Oracle of the Shapeshifters, I have modified it. I've trimmed it. This is the US edition. This deck I almost gifted. I hadn't worked with this deck for a really, really long time. At one point I was doing a series called Oracular Fantastical with this deck. I worked with this deck often for the first few years that it came out. And then I think we just needed a little bit of a break, and I really didn't work with it at all, and I thought maybe we'd run our course and it was time to gift the deck to someone who would appreciate getting to know its very interesting and special voice in the world of Oracle decks. But I'm very thankful that I didn't gift it, because I have reconnected with it over the last few weeks and gotten some very accurate, sometimes painful, but very accurate messages, especially in regards to relationships that I really did need to hear. And so I'm very thankful that I didn't gift it, because I've needed to hear those messages and to sit with the energy of each of the spirit animals in each card, and the message of the Fae connected with each card as well. So this deck has been very, very special. And I'm glad to be reconnecting with it, and I definitely won't be giving this copy away in the future. This is my personal copy. I'll be keeping it. I'll stop right here with the black cat, because that's kind of perfect. Okay, I'm going to do 3 honorable mentions, so I will move through them quickly. These 3 decks I'm not going to be working with as intensely, but they will be a part of my practice this autumn season. This is the Alice Tarot by Baba Studios. She doesn't make an appearance on this list that often because she's very intense, and I usually typically read Lewis Carroll's works while I work with her, and that journey is a lot of shadow work when I do that stuff. So she is showing up for a very specific reason this autumn, and I am very thankful for that. And this was a beautiful gift from my mother-in-law as well, so it's a deeply appreciated gift. So again, this is the Alice Tarot. The Journey of the Hidden Realms Tarot. The Hidden Realms Tarot, I always get the title of this deck off, but it's the deck by Julia Jeffries. It's another one that's right on with its interpretation of Fae, and it's a beautiful tarot deck. It's always going to be a part of my collection, and I love working with it. I especially love working with it deep into fall, right when we're about to shift into winter, and you can really feel that death very clearly. And yet there's still this beautiful kind of fading color surrounding the earth, at least here in New England. And so this deck works very well for that, but I pulled her out earlier than I typically do for autumn. And so I can feel her voice very, very clearly. I'm very thankful to be able to work with her. Last deck, the Oracle of Oddities. This is the first edition by Black and the Moon. She's publishing a second edition. I think she's still creating it at the time of this video recording. There's no guidebook for this deck. It's completely intuitive. It's absolutely beautiful. I am so glad that I made the choice to invest in the deck. It was definitely pricier, but it's very unique. It's very... When things are very murky for me, this is a really great deck to work with. And it does ask for a lot of journaling and kind of sitting with the images because it is meant to be read intuitively. So when I kind of maybe get a little lazy or don't want to do that don't want to give myself the gift of self-work and instead just focus on everyone else and all that stuff, this deck is like, let's take 5. We need to go sit in the corner together and sit and have a little talk. I love that image. And so this deck is really, really special part of my collection and a keeper for sure. So this is the Oracle of Oddities by Black and the Moon. So those are my decks that will be the most used for this autumn season. I'm working with a lot of decks this autumn and feeling very invigorated and clear on my path and my journey and the direction that I'm headed in as a reader, as a healer, as a medium, but also just as myself on this journey, where I'm going and what's coming through and what I need to honor and what I need to allow to die, what it's time to let go of, and that's what this season is all about. So I am just so thankful it's autumn, even though it's like 80 degrees here today. And it's super humid, and I feel like we're in the South, even though we're in New England. I don't care. It's autumn to me, and I'm very, very thankful. So I would love to hear what all of you are working with for your autumn decks. What decks are you pulling out? Or if it's spring where you are, what decks are you starting to incorporate into your practice? There's something very special about observing life through the wheel of the year and through the seasons and the elements, and there's something really beautiful that happens with that I'm intensely grateful for. And so this practice of, what decks we're working with or what element we're connecting with or what spiritual tools we're calling in for the seasonal point in the path we're at is just so beautiful and so much fun to me. So I hope you are all doing well. It's been a joy to spend some time with you in this way, and I am looking forward to seeing you all in the next video. Much love, many blessings. Bye.